The 2025 German Motorcycle Grand Prix is done and dusted, and it is a start number 200 in the Premier class for Marc Marquez, and what better way to celebrate it than to win it straight away. But without further ado, as per tradition, 5 topics to comment about in this eventful Sachsenring race. With this victory now, Marc Marquez became the only second rider in the Ducati history to ever win 4 consecutive races. The first one was of course Pecco Bagnaia all the way back in 2022, and then he repeated that trend last year. And Marc being only the second one to do so, not even Casey Stoner, not even Andrea Dovizioso was able to do just that. And Marc potentially in 1 week's time, in 7 days time, during the Brno later on this week, he can potentially make it 5 in a row, the first Ducati rider to ever do so. And with the comeback victory in 2021 at Sachsenring for Marc Marquez, it was like a magical comeback for the then 28-year-old Spaniard. Nobody would have thought that it would take like an additional 4 years for Marc to sit on the rostrum stop step again at Sachsenring. I think it kind of took a bit longer than I expected. I mean, judging by the performance of the Honda all the way back in 2022, that Honda was not that bad. It wasn't as bad as the 2023 version. With the 22 Honda, I believe had Marc actually raced there, he could win it. He could win at Sachsenring back in 22. But unfortunately, of course, we know that he sustained another injury that kind of prolonged his recovery. All the way back at Mandalika, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was 2022 Mandalika, the first Indonesian GP after like 25 years. He was still racing at some races after that major crash, but after the Italian Grand Prix at Mugello, he decided to, take a step back and trying to be fully recovered, and he missed like I think 5 or 6 rounds, including the German GP back then. But again, the Saxon King reclaims his throne after 4 years. Quite magical, and it's another record and another landmark for the 32-year-old Spaniard. Having qualified well inside the top 6, Morbidelli's withdrawal, Frankie Morbidelli, he withdrew from the race actually due to the heavy crash he sustained in the rubbish sprint. And with Morbidelli's withdrawal, it saw Alex promoted to P5 on the grid. So, well, 1 place better. I mean, it's still on the second row, but well, 1 place better. He managed to survive the race. It was a race of survival near the latter stages of the race. He inherited P2 after the previous P2 occupants both crashed out in the latter stages of the race. The first P2 occupant was Fabio Di Giannantonio, and then the second one, after DG crashed, Marco Bezzecchi inherited P2, and then Marco crashed as well. And in the end, Alex inherited that P2, and he finished just there in like a no man's land. He wasn't really under some pressure, under threat from Pecco Bagnaia right behind him, nor that he's actively chasing Marc. I mean, he was really still fresh from a finger injury. A fresh P2 indeed for the younger of the Marquez bros. 3 Yamahas managed to finish inside the top 10. Wow, what an achievement! Well, it's kind of tricky actually. The P10 occupants, the one who finished in P10 was Alex Rins, and he was actually the last one to cross the finish line. And that's why it's a bit tricky that 3 Yamahas inside the top 10. I mean, like, wow. But then, well, yeah, the P10 occupant was actually the last one to cross the finish line. Having survived a race where 8 riders crashed, 6 of which was starting as well as running in front of Rins. So, in hindsight, had those 6 riders not crashed, Rins will have finished in P16 at best, maybe P15 if he kind of climb up a bit. But yeah, P10 still a point, but this is Rins's first P10 of the season. Before this, his best result was P11, but this time P10, but he was the last one. Oh my god, this is terrible, terribly terrible. Fabio Quartararo managed a P4 fending off Fermin Aldeguer's charge in P5. But again, Fabio managing a P4 because a lot of riders in front of him crashed. I think in hindsight again, had those riders not crashed, Fabio could only manage like the lower P10s. I think P10 at best. And it's a pseudo improvement for Yamaha actually. Not really like promising something good, even when Fabio was already like so frustrated and devastated by the state of the Yamaha. Yamaha still haven't improved at all. Jack Miller doing Jack thing and finished in a strong P8. He was running in closer to the top 5, but then again tire problems kind of ruined his race. And yeah, it is just another meh weekend for the Yamaha despite the good result P4, P8 and P10. But let's face it, only 10 riders managed to finish the race. So despite ending Sunday's race in P3, Pecco's real pace was genuinely nowhere near the podium pace. It was another devastating weekend, a weekend of frustration for Pecco, for the double world champion. And he was struggling throughout the whole practice session. Never he touched the top 3, not even the top 5. He just spent the whole practice session like in the lower P10s, even outside of P10 sometimes. And with the wet qualifying on Saturday, it didn't help him one bit. As a matter of fact, it worsened his qualifying session. P11 that he lined up on the grid, actually up to P10 because Frankie's withdrawal from the main race, from the main Grand Prix. And despite a good launch of the line, he was like actually already inside the top 6 by the end of lap 2. And but that's just as far as he could go. The fact that he finished P3, that was only due to inheritance. He inherited P3 after 3 riders in front of him crashed. Pedro Acosta crashed from P5, promoting Pecco to P5. DGR crashed from P2, and then Marco crashed from P2 as well. And then Pecco suddenly found himself in P3, unable to challenge Alex, not even closing in on him, not even trying to get a pressure to someone who's not even fully fit. Alex was still fresh from an injury, from an operation, yet Pecco couldn't do anything. It's really frustrating to see Pecco performing like this. As a Pecco fan, I'm starting to get disappointed like immensely towards Pecco. It's come on, man. Despite the brilliance in the Q2 session, Johan placing that LCR Honda second on the grid, P2 on the grid, lining up right beside Mark, the Saxon King. Johan's start was awful. It was really awful, dropping him all the way back to the lower P10s. He was finally amongst the casualties, the 8 casualties in the race at Sachsenring. Luckily for Honda, their sole remaining spearhead was a rather still injured Luca Marini. Luca, who was still recovering, trying to recover from a heavy injury, he missed 3 rounds. Let's not forget it. Luca missed 3 rounds and then he came back, salvaging a strong P6, a best result of the season for the Italian, despite missing 3 previous Grand Prix. It kind of saved Honda their face a bit, knowing that it was actually Johan could do better. The fact that he crashed, like, it was a really, I don't want to call it stupid, but it was a stupid crash. It was like a front end wash at turn 1, which caught a lot of riders. But in Johan's case, it was like, oh my god, it wasn't even that really fast of a corner. I don't know, was it the Honda, was it Johan? Like previously in 2021, Johan was also starting P2 on the grid at Sachsenring, riding the Pramac Ducati. And then what he did was almost a carbon copy of this. The only difference was back then he actually finished the race in P8. But yeah, it's just, had he finished yesterday, I think it was at best another P8 as well. So it's not really like a big of an improvement for Johan. 3 crashes in 4 races now for Johan. In those 4 races, the one time that he finished was a P12. He is jumping off the cliff now in the championship. I mean, he wasn't really fighting for the championship, but at the very least, he could very well be fighting for the top 5, top 4. But now he's like, he slipped through, like, I think it is now P6 or P7 in the championship. I only keep track on the championship without the sprint points because again, sprints are rubbish. So without the sprint points, Johan is actually sitting P7 in the standings right now. And just like a few rounds ago, like 5 rounds ago, he was in a strong P4 in the championship. Oh my god. But then, well, yeah, I think that's it that I can talk about in this German Grand Prix. Another milestone from Marquez, and he keeps on going, he keeps on rolling. And yeah, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and like and subscribe for more, and until we meet again.